Welcome into Texans today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and on today's show, got some juicy rumors lined up for you. Do the Texans have the best young core in the entire NFL? Is there something wrong with C.J. Stroud? And did the Texans find yet another hidden gem in the secondary? I'll break down all three of these stories on today's show, but today is the last day of the month, and my goal for July was 800 subs. It was a little lofty, but not in a bad spot. Where we stand today, 693 subs so far this month. So if you're watching this show, if you're brand new to the program, go down and hit that subscribe button, 100% free. And my promise to you is this: if you don't like the show in a week, you can unsubscribe. No skin off your back. It's 100% free. But go down and hit that sub button, and let me prove to you why this is the #1 Texans channel here on YouTube. And if you are new to the program and you don't know how we break down our rumors on this show, I use this Toro heads meter. Basically, it tells you how likely or how much validity I give each story. If I give something 0 heads or fake news, not happening. 1 Toro head, small shred of truth. 2 Toro heads, people are talking. 3 Toro heads, it's pretty likely. And if I give something 4 Toro heads, well, H-Town, hold it down. It is happening. So let's get into our first story on today's program. Do the Texans have the best young core in the entire National Football League? That one is 4 Toro heads. H-Town, hold it down. You know it is a fact. The Texans, they have the best young talent in the entire National Football League. And if you don't believe me, well, you might believe ESPN. ESPN put out a list of the best young cores in the entire National Football League, and this was their top 5. Number 1, the Houston Texans. Number 2, Seattle Seahawks. 3, the Washington Commanders. Number 4, the New York Giants. And number 5, the Chicago Bears. And they kind of listed the criteria, guys who were under the age of 25, and they, they took into account the amount of starts they've had, the amount of snaps that they've played, and other kind of attributing factors just like that. And these were the blue chip players that they highlighted. They had 4 for the Houston Texans: C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., Derek Stingley Jr., and Kamari Lassiter. No problem with these 4 guys. I agree. All blue chip guys for this Texans squad. But they did leave one guy off that list, and he goes by the name of Jaylen Bullock. They did mention him later on in the article, but how is he not a blue chip player? If you're putting Kamari Lassiter in that list, I think Jaylen Bullock is right there with Lassiter as one of the Texans' blue chip prospects. And this Texans roster, up and down, is one of the best in the entire NFL. One of the most talented in the entire NFL, excluding the offensive line. And that's the one part of this team. If the O-line can just be average, I'm not asking them to be world beaters. I'm not asking them to be the best O-line, be a top 10 O-line. If they can just be league average, somewhere around that 12 to 18 mark, this team is going to be contenders in the AFC. But don't tell DraftKings, because they put out their AFC favorites via DraftKings, and they have the Texans at number 8 on this list. Number 8. Behind the LA Chargers, who they waxed in the playoffs this past year. Behind the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a geriatric at quarterback. Behind the Denver Broncos, okay, that's fine. They have a good defense. I get the AFC is stacked, but number 8? Really? Barely ahead of the New England Patriots? That's where we have the Texans? Number 8? I want whatever DraftKings is smoking. I want that because they're on the good. If you think the Texans are the 8th best team in the AFC, you're smoking crack. I think you are absolutely nuts. They are contenders. They have the best defense in the entire NFL. DraftKings is I don't want to bash them too much, but they're a bunch of crackheads. A bunch of crackheads over there. Do you believe the Texans are the top or our top AFC contenders this year? Give me a yes. Give me a no down in the comments section. DraftKings obviously doesn't believe that, but who listens to those bums anyway? They have no clue what they're talking about. I don't even know if they know where they're at right now. They probably think it's 2030 right now. That they're absolutely blasphemous. Blasphemous, I tell you. All right, let's get into the next story on today's show. Is something wrong with C.J. Stroud? This is fake news. My baloney has a first name, and his name is Clint Stoerner. And I'm sorry, I don't really know him that well. We haven't really exchanged pleasantries, and he's probably a good guy. But he had this to say on Sports Radio 610, and I just absolutely disagree with it. The Drive's Clint Stoerner says something not quite right with C.J. Stroud, and he has this quote. I'd be willing to bet you a house note right now that C.J. Stroud has taken fewer reps than any other starting quarterback in the NFL that's healthy in training camp. How do you even know this? How do you even come to this conclusion? That's like me saying, oh, yeah, I bet you McDonald's drops more french fries on the ground than Burger King. How do you know? Like, what? You're not taking account of all the reps that everybody else is. You're at Texans practice. You're not at any other practice. How do you come to that conclusion where you're so confident that you would bet a house note on it? Really? 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 I don't get it. This is just unequivocally false. And it just feels like grasping for straws to make a storyline that's not there. You're like, you know what are we doing on the call sheet today? Oh, there's nothing in the C block. There's something wrong with Stroud. That's what it feels like. Because I talked to multiple people that have been to practice, multiple people that are close to the team, and I would not take any stock in this whatsoever. Like Dogecoin. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And I get the basis of where this comes from because remember back in minicamp when C.J. Stroud wasn't throwing those first practices and we were all freaking out? And C.J. Stroud had this to say. I took this offseason very serious on just working hard, trying to get my body right, trying to be faster, stronger, and it went really well, but there's always risk and reward. And that kind of came down to the fact that Stroud has been putting in a ton of work this offseason and probably had a little bit of a sore shoulder coming into minicamp. Guys, Stroud is just fine. He's been taking the reps with the ones. What do we want? I don't get he's not taking, he hasn't really been taking reps off. He hasn't been tapping out. Like what are we talking about? Stroud is just fine. Everybody relax. It's okay. Stroud is just fine. No need to get your panties in a wad. And before we get into the last story on today's show, I'm just all over the place. I'm just all over the place right now. If you want some C.J. Stroud gear, I got you covered with our friends over at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/CJ Stroud. You can get all these things, not just jerseys. They have shirts. They have the baseball jersey. They have this shirt as well. They have the NFL Blitz t-shirt, and they have memorabilia, signed, autographed things. They also have a bobblehead that looks like C.J. Stroud, but his eyes are kind of big. I don't know why. All the Stroud gear and more at this link right here, chatsports.com/CJ Stroud. Go look over there and make sure to use this link so Fanatics knows that we sent you. A ton of items over there, some stuff on sale. So maybe go over there, do a little window shopping. One more time, this link is going to be in the comment section and description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/CJ Stroud. All right. One more story to break down on today's program, and it revolves around the Texans draft class. Did the Texans find another hidden gem at defensive back? I'm only going to give this one 2 Toro heads for now. It's a little bit too early to tell, but I think they're on the right track to finding another young, good piece in the secondary. If you don't know who I'm talking about, Derek Stingley Jr. said this about Texans' third-round pick out of USC, Jaylen Smith, just yesterday. He's a dog, J-roc, which, cool nickname already. J-roc, that's dope. He's going to make a lot of plays. Every day he does something. He's smart. He knows the whole defense already, every position, which is actually pretty important. Not just saying, oh, yeah, Jaylen Smith, he's a slot corner guy. They're saying he can work on the outside. He can work in the slot. Maybe a little bit mixing in some safety there. I don't think they'll really move him at all into the safety position, but still working at the slot, working at the outside. Jaylen Smith has been carving out a nice little niche role on this Texans defense as a backup for multiple positions. And we already knew he kind of had a leg up. He was really good friends with Kalen Bullock. Hell, Bullock was at his draft party when he was selected by the Houston Texans. And after Ronald Darby retired earlier this offseason, he was their cornerback 3 option. Now it kind of turns over to Jaylen Smith. And they haven't signed anybody. There's definitely people on the open market in free agency who they could sign if they did not feel comfortable with Jaylen Smith. They have not done so. They've kind of taken some risks. They went ahead and signed a Damon Arnett, who has played in the UFL. They, went ahead They signed Draymond Smith early in free agency, but he's not somebody who I'm super confident in as the cornerback 3. I think they like what they have in Jaylen Smith, and they said, hey, let's see what this rookie can do, and he's been impressing so far during training camp. Maybe the Texans just know how to draft defensive backs. They seem like they get a really good one each and every single year. That's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can do so at Jeremy Chuggs. And hey, like I said, we're trying to get to 800 subs. You made it to the end of the video and you're not subscribed? Come on, I'm doing something right. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're 107 subs away from our goal for this month. Let me stick it to my bosses and say, hey, Texans have the best fans in the entire NFL, and this is why, because every time I ask them, they show up, they represent, just like I know y'all can. H-Town, hold it down.